Let me just double check really quick. Yes, right, Mike. It might just be that I'm a little far away. Good afternoon, good evening,
There you are.
everybody. Hope everyone is doing extremely well. January 16th, 2025. Mr. Patel, it's been over a month since we have done a Cashflow Chronicles. We took a nice little holiday. You were in the mountains. I was doing God knows what up in Pennsylvania. Nice to be back and hang out with folks. The market's missed us. Many people have reached out to me when Cashflow Chronicles, um, and
Just gonna
just
come back.
have, yeah, is it going to come back? I think people were afraid we had a falling out or something.
No,
Um,
man. It's
yeah,
hard to keep up with everything because you're like we're both work full-time jobs. We both research things. We've met quite a few times on like we
yeah,
have
those are
this
fun.
private yeah, we have these private meetups online where it's me, Steven and a couple of other people. And so we always go through these things together. I think that's like a really cool thing that we started. It's nice because we can literally walk each other through our own thesis and see if other people can poke holes in it, and without with that input it could really help figure out like if there's a opportunity that some of us are missing, because the thing
Right.
is like investing is about getting to know people outside of your just core industry, so you get an idea of like where to go. Like when we first started talking about next decade, like that was like I did a lot of research on it, but I wish I had more people putting some input into it, which would have led more confidence to me. You know what I mean? Because like
Yeah.
you got oil and natural gas experience, we got a few people who are more in like accounting and insurance and stuff like that. So it's a very interesting mix of things. So yeah,
Yeah, it's excited to be here. Let's run down the list. January 16th, 2025, we got Apple just under 230, Amazon 220, Bros going above $60, Google 192, Palantir hanging out just below $70 a share. SPY trying to creep back up to 6,000, the Qs at 513, Bitcoin back above 100,000. Oil creeping up, $79. It's been ramping up since the beginning of the new year. And then you have
yeah.
natural gas at $4.27 Henry Hub, and it's north of $14 over in Japan. So
What
natural
about
gas
TTM?
prices are going up.
What about TTM, baby? Not TTM, TTF, right?
I haven't
TTCF.
looked at TTF in a while. Let me
Look at
see.
it. It's really up there.
Was it spiking up?
Yeah.
Let me see. That's probably why Henry Hub is going up, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, it's getting up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is getting
Telling
up
you,
there.
the Europeans have to really get their shit together when it comes to their energy because they have two main problems. One, you're trying to switch to renewables, but the thing is, renewables don't have the same capacity, especially during the winter time. So if you get an especially cold winter, you're basically screwed over by these high natural gas prices because now the Russians have you by the balls. So yeah, you could store all the ones you want, but if you get a consecutive amount of cold winters, it's gonna throw your economy off. And at the same time, they're shutting down their nuclear, which was a really dumb move on Germany's part because now that makes you even more reliant. So my question is this gross incompetence, or is this something where maybe the Russians, who are your main energy suppliers, were the ones that kind of convinced you that you should rely on them as partners?
I don't know. I can't talk about this too in depth because I have this debate at work as well. But so I don't want to play my hand too strong.
I
But
got you. I
you
got you.
also see the same thing about in the UK and the energy policies that are going on there. How they're trying to tax and do windfall taxes and basically limit the profitability of those guys. So what's that end up doing? It ends up leaving operators to not make enough capital, and they end up leaving the region, which makes the dependence upon the United States, dependence upon Russian gas, even more
Qatar,
so. Yeah.
Qatar.
So it kind of gets you like in a chicken and the egg. I get it. You don't want absurd amounts of pollution. You want to make sure that you're leading the energy and green charge as opposed like from the 2015 Paris Agreement. That's what the UK signed up for. It's what a lot of Europe signed up for. But at the same time, you still need to give your people affordable energy and make sure
Yeah.
that they're not starving themselves out and having to pick and choose between, do I heat the house this month or do I? So anyway, I get stuck in that chicken and the egg sort of situation, and I'm just trying to understand. Germany's done itself the same with respect to nuclear, right? They were shutting down a lot of the nuclear plants, which then made them more reliant on the natural gas. So it's interesting. The only people that don't really seem to have this over in Europe is really France, because of their immense amount of nuclear that they have over in France. So,
well, the Norwegians are doing well too, because Norwegians have a ton of oil and natural gas, and they're all loving it, because they're basically selling all of their excess capacity to these guys at high prices. And at the same time, the Norwegians have switched most of their what is that thing called, their fleets to electric, so the Norwegians are probably the most pragmatic among the Europeans, followed up by maybe the French to a degree when it comes to energy. Like the fact that I think it's still about 70% of France's energy comes from nuclear, which is something hard to believe. And they've never once wavered against that,
Yep.
So
yeah.
Yeah,
it's interesting. February last year, so just about a year ago, energy prices, and this is in euros per megawatt hour, right? Was about $35 at TTF, and now they're looking at about 46. So that's an increase of 46 divided by 35, 31%. So, and I just don't think it's necessary. I really don't. I think that there's a lot of opportunities in the region to be able to explore, find natural gas, find oils, and unfortunately, just the environment that we're in is really leading down to a different path. But hey, it's going to be beneficial for you and myself, my friend. We're obviously good at getting business with NEXT, and hopefully find some other opportunities as well as some of these other plants get approved. Hopefully we can grab some money off of those.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the portfolio, see where we're at this year
so far. Looking pretty bueno. Let me see. Let me hide this. Let me go into slide mode. Did I just hide slide mode? Yes, I did. So this is the portfolio that we're at. Basically, we are on highest value position to lowest value position. So obviously ABCL being the lowest at just under $30, but then NEXT up $800 since the purchase, so just about 60%. We've been buying a little bit more here and there. Recently, I don't think we bought too much, but I know we added a little bit to Nubank, which was a new position that we bought into a couple. I think you only want to put $300. I think I put closer to 400 in there.
That's fine. That's fine.
But yeah, I think last month, I think we bought a little bit more. One of the BPYPN or BPYPMs, I forget which one. So
yeah, it's good because if you look at it, about 40% is in fixed income kind of property. So that's good. So that keeps us getting nice little cash flow stream that we can use to reinvest in some of the more speculative things. And so you've got the middleweights, the CCL, the NCLH is doing well as well. So I don't know. I think we've got a decent portfolio that's doing well. It's not like the greatest thing on the planet, but I think we're doing well.
Unfortunately, Mr. Patel. So obviously, you guys see we were up 4% today, $250 from the portfolio. We obviously can't count this because Fidelity has yet to. Sorry to spit everywhere on my monitor. Fidelity doesn't count this, but comparatively, I started to break this out because we are starting a new year. But I don't want to let go of the great year that we had last year. Obviously, we ended out in like the high 70s, low 80s. I don't know exactly where we ended up at, but where do you think we are for the first 15, 16 days of the month? For 15, 16 days of the year, where do you think we are compared to the S&P?
I don't know. The S&P is kind of flat. No, so we're probably maybe around the same, if not maybe like 5%.
Yeah. Keep in mind, this doesn't include this 4% uplift today, right? That shows up tomorrow. Yeah. So we are at about 4.5% year to date. And
that's good.
Keeping in line with I don't want to let go of the last trailing 12 years. So I think I'm going to show it this way. So year to date and then trailing year. So obviously the last year we're up 83%, and then year to date we're up at about 4%, 4.5% comparatively to the S&P, which is flat about 1%. So far so good. Can't complain with this.
A quick someone in the chat said y'all should use Robinhood as a broker. You know what? When Robinhood starts to give us fixed income, we'll do it. Until Robinhood gets us fixed income, we're not doing it, because you need a broker who gives you a multitude of investment options. So yep. Robinhood, work on your fixed income, and then we'll consider switching.
There are some OTC things that Robinhood will provide, but then there's other things where they don't, Yeah. So it really just depends. There's some stocks that I actually like. I don't even think BPYPN or BPYPM
they're
on
not.
Robinhood.
They can't handle the tax issues with it. So like there's a multitude of taxing issues that like you have to go through, and Fidelity is more of an all-encompassing broker who lets you buy some of the more exotic things. Mm-hmm. Same thing with like I have a portfolio of fixed income stuff that I've created for like my parents, and that's something that's completely out of the realm of even possibility for Robinhood. The only way I could set up something that's fixed income is buying like an ETF, but then I'm giving up sometimes like almost a full point just so that I can say I have a Robinhood. So I'm like, nah, I'd rather just buy the fixed income stuff myself,
Yeah. So that the only other quarrel I have with which I think is why I don't know. I heard TJ's leaving Robinhood. I don't know how real that is, but he's kind of been using it now for quite some time. But the one thing that I have with a problem with it is that, like you stated, it's not full service. But then second, it doesn't allow you to really hold investments for other people. So you can't have like custodian accounts, as far as I'm aware, on Robinhood. So you can't be a registered investment advisory and have funds on Robinhood, which would be nice because that unlocks a huge market, right? Obviously, the younger crowd is very much more into Robinhood than using Fidelity or using, even Charles Schwab. And so that would unlock a whole range of opportunities for somebody like myself who's trying to cater to a younger audience and get them invested as early as possible. If I could use Robinhood and you use that, then it would be great.
I think that's on their roadmap. I have to see.
So. I hope so. Yeah. I hope so. So what are you buying, Mr. Patel? What is new? Did you end up? I think I don't know if are you disclosing the thing that we talked about last week and that we both actually bought into? You're not?
No. I got a few DMs the last time I said something a little too early. And like, oh, what am I paying you on the Patreon for if you're giving away everything? And I was like, that's a good point. So I think I'll just keep it to my chest.
Keep it for a week or two. Wait until it hopefully it plays in our favor. And
I don't think it really matters that much. It's like you get like a 1, maybe 2 week head start, I guess. But no, ultimately what it is you have to, I don't know. You have to. Yeah.
Let me ask, are you talking about the more tech one, or are you talking about the more oil and gas one?
Tech one.
Okay. Yeah, what about have you talked about the more oil and gas one? Not next, but the other one.
Not yet. No.
Yeah.
I didn't even bring that up yet.
Okay.
Well, technically, it's on my Savvy Trader. Some people know about it. I did put it on the page, but I didn't do like a full breakdown. I have a full-time job, man. People forget that. Like, as much as I love doing this, I work full-time, so I have to. So, and the thing is, when I do like research and analysis, I go pretty far in depth, so I look at a lot of things, not just like how the industry is doing, but also like the credit profile on how to, how they're going to manage their near-term debt, long-term debt. And a lot of times the value comes from figuring out a company's capital structure and how it could be transforming in the next few years and how you can actually make money off of it,
Yeah.
Some of it's pure speculation too. So.
I have one for you, and this will be, and I think I might have mentioned this one to some folks. I know I mentioned in our chat, but like you stated, you're working, you have weird hours that you sleep. Sometimes you sleep during the day, sometimes you sleep at night. But I think we talked about this one. Have we not?
No.
So yeah, you probably so this one I think is right up your alley. I want you to do some diving on this because this is like last mile LNG. And when you think last
I
mile
saw that.
LNG,
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
what do you think of? You're thinking the Carnival Cruise, you're thinking of Norwegian, you're thinking about all these ships that are transitioning from diesel to LNG. You're thinking about all these other things like, for example, the SpaceX launch today, LNG, right? You're thinking about all these things that are now kind of popping up as, well, what can we use this for? And so I'm kind of curious to eventually get your thoughts on this. This is an older presentation. I actually wouldn't mind going to meet this guy in person. It's a very small float company, 120 million. And they actually have like 15 or so $1 million in cash. So really you're trying to value $100 million business, based off of just removing on an adjusted market cap base for the cash. So I'm kind of curious, this guy's actually on my way to and from work. If I could ever stop by and just like pick his brain about what the heck is actually going on. But I mean, this is really it. It's, small scale facilities. I think they're up to 4 facilities now, but last mile delivery, logistics capabilities. They actually have a signed partnership with Carnival Cruise to provide LNG. So this is from 2023, but year over year in the third quarter, their LNG sales were up like 40%. So I'm just sitting here like, is this an opportunity to potentially?
Long term, shipping is going to be switching to LNG. It just makes more sense, right? When you compare the cost of, the environmental impacts of using bunker fuel, it's really bad. And now a lot of the new regulations around maritime like emissions control has a lot of ships having to install really, really expensive scrubber systems, right? So this is where there could be an opportunity here for more. I mean, and like I said, a lot of the newer ships are going to be LNG based. It burns cleaner, it's easier. The only thing is refueling could be a problem with it. And it's a relatively safe thing too. So my thing is, a lot of the next 5 to 10 year portfolio positions that we need to develop are around the LNG industry, where you've got a whole supply chain of not just upstream, which is probably going to be impacted more by the commodity fluctuations, but then you also have the midstreams, which is the pipelines. You've got the LNG terminal infrastructure, which does the cryogenic freezing of it so that it can be exported. And then also companies that specifically make equipment that services LNG, those are real potential areas of upside for us. And the thing is, like, a lot of people don't even know much about it. Like, remember when we spoke about Accelerate Energy, EE? Look at what the stock price is on EE now. Look at that. Look at the 1 year on the damn thing.
Yeah.
117%. See? So I think the key is, and this is still roughly a very small company. I think it IPO'd only like 2 years ago. So it's not even that big of an IPO yet. $3 billion market cap.
$3.4 billion market cap. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is something that we should, like I said, keep our eye on, develop a portfolio of just LNG servicing, LNG midstream, LNG like things, and just put them into the thing. Because I mean, as the world transitions away from oil and coal, LNG is like a natural place where we're gonna end up. Yeah. It's like imagine a ship right now. What are you gonna do? Put a battery on the thing? Yeah. Combine batteries and salt water, and you got yourself a recipe for disaster. So
yeah, I mean, exactly what you're saying here, right? I mean, this is the addressable market for the LNG fueled vessels that are there, right? And who can supply it? I mean, Stabilis is looking specifically at like the Houston ship channel, the major ship channels, right? Yeah. But I mean, the whole market's up for sale, So
yeah, we need to do we need to do more research on on Venture Global on the valuation, because the IPO is about to hit, and I'm thinking about like here's the thing. I think it's going to be a little too rich, but
I do too. Yeah.
the possibilities that these guys have is enormous. They could be the Exxon Mobil of LNG, right?
Yeah.
So my thing is, do I want to pay this premium? Because there are times where the premium is just too juicy, but it makes sense, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I was just doing some initial thoughts, right? So when it's fully formed, it will be larger than Cheniere, right? And so,
Yeah.
but the thing is, if you just look at Cheniere, Cheniere is a 50, $60 billion company, right? And this thing's been a barn burner. We've talked about it on the channel many times. So I'm sitting here like, okay, my thought process was Venture Global going to try to IPO around 50 billion. That's kind of what I was thinking. But now I'm hearing
100.
they're going to try 100. And I'm sitting there like, that's kind of fully richly valued, right? Like if it drops to say 50 billion, over the course of say 6 months to a year, I'm going to reevaluate. But to me, like you stated, it depends on what happens during the IPO day. But I was hoping something along the lines of 50 to 60 billion to kind of get my feet wet. Now I'm hearing north of 100 or 100 billion plus.
Yeah.
And because I saw you posted, I don't know where it was, if it was your Patreon or whatever, you said that they had filed their S1, or at least Fidelity had poked you. I looked up the S1 and I'm sitting there like, okay, this is good. And I'm like, oh shit, I forget what the share price was, but they were offering $50 or whatever for however many shares, and it was like this amount of the company, and I was like, that's 100 billion. I'm like, holy, you guys have got to be fucking kidding me. So it's a good time. I know the market's hot right now, but 100 billion, man, I don't know.
It's nuts. It's nuts, man. What is Exxon Mobil's market cap? 489, 480, and they're about 13 PE, but they generate what, like 50 billion a year in profit?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that you have to keep in mind for these large energy companies, and likely as well for LNG, you can depreciate a lot because you're investing so much capital. And so it's almost worth it to look at it on both. Net income is important because you have to take into consideration the fact that you are spending that money to get it, but you have depletion costs with a lot of these things. And so that allows you to partly write off whatever your income is for tax breaks because you're investing so heavily. So it's pertinent to kind of look at what the price to cash flow is in the companies like this, because cash flow is real, and that's what actually hits the cash register. Versus when you look at net income, general allowing accounting practices, GAAP, you can write off, depletion cost, depreciation, all that stuff, which is kind of a tax break, right?
Yeah.
So people just need to be aware of that. And same thing with real estate. Like when people look at real estate investment trusts, which actually I don't think, with now that we kind of feel like hit a ceiling, things like, that's another one that I've been kind of thinking about is, one, do you go long TLT, TMF here? I don't know. But things like Stag Industrial that have obviously been impacted immensely over the past 6 months because of interest rates. And then like things like realty income that have been impacted immensely for the same reason, right?
SL Green is down too. Look at SL.
Yeah,
Green.
SL Green, exactly. Like I sold SL Green at a great price in like the mid 70s. And, I sold, I don't know if I sold a little early in October, or if I sold in November, I don't remember. But I sold in the mid 70s. But like you said, it's got a pivot point here. And obviously it's already started to run. But if you can find the right company that hasn't run 100% yet, I'm sure there's plenty of or another good one for the more income focused. Yeah, Starwood Property Trust. This one's been impacted immensely. This one's always channely because of the high dividend, but you can see the peak here at 21 and dropped all the way to 18.
I'm not such a big fan of Starwood for a couple of reasons. Like I looked at quite a few rentals in certain areas, and the thing is, what happens is with Starwood is that you won't they're not directly like owned by Starwood, so you have to go through all the filings, right? So if you go to the property filings, they go through this like hodgepodge web of companies, and then eventually it gets to Starwood. The problem is a lot of the places that I looked at, which were like single family homes in regions like Texas, Florida, they're all owned by companies that are owned by Starwood. So I'm like, yeah, no, not gonna do that. I know what you guys are like, how you guys are doing business wise. Like American Homes for Rent, exactly. Look at them; they're getting crushed right now. So, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those ones. I don't know anything about AMH, but I mean,
the
all
other
they
one
do
is
is buy single
Tricon.
families.
Look at the other
Tricon?
one, Tricon. I think. No, I have to see what it is. Hold on. Who
Is
owns
it
Tricon?
TRY?
1 second. Tricon Residential. Okay, so they're owned by Blackstone. Not BlackRock, Blackstone.
Well, we'll just have to look at
BX.
Blackstone.
BX.
Yeah, they've held up okay.
Yeah.
But even still a little bit of a hit. What about home builders? I haven't even looked. I mean, have they been I know Mitt was talking about it a couple weeks ago. I don't know how badly they've gotten hit over the past. So I guess they have gotten hit.
Yeah, the KB Homes, Lennar, and the more luxury one should do okay, which is Toll Brothers. But Lennar, KB
Oh
Homes is
wow.
another one. Yeah.
This one's a pretty big hit.
Yeah.
Let's see, Toll. Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked at the financials of which one I would pick, but it's one of those ones where it's like if we do see the pivot, is it an opportunity? I mean, I
With
don't know
high
how
interest,
aggressive.
with
Yeah.
a 30-year mortgage right now hitting close to 7.5, you're not going to see these guys do that well. And the thing is, a lot of inventory is coming to market, so
That's the
it's not,
thing. I mean, I don't
yeah.
know with we're 36 hours, 72 hours, whatever from a new administration. Are they going to kick KP out of there? They're going to be like, you know what, Jerome, we gotta change we got to get more nimble on our feet, or do you think we're just going to hold flat?
First of all, if you were to forcibly remove the Fed chair, markets would lose confidence. So you wouldn't do that. I think if I had to guess, I'd say the data is going to lag, and the new data that's going to come out throughout the year is going to show more disinflation, in which case now we're probably going to have 4 cuts rather than the 1 or 2 that's being projected. So my portfolio is pretty much aligned to a weaker dollar, and also at the same time a lower 10-year. Just fix my camera. Sometimes the autofocus is like, I don't know. There you go. Whatever.
A lower 10-year. Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think. With respect to I thought that we would be in a slow trajectory down closer to 5% interest rates on the 30-year, right? Not obviously the 10-year or 20-year.
Yeah.
But here we are now back at 7. So it's I don't necessarily know what to think. I think Tom Lee thinks that it's going to be less than more. I think he's in the opposite boat of you. I think he thinks there only might be 1 or maybe 2 at max based off the data that we're seeing.
I'm seeing 4, maybe. Yeah, I'm seeing 4 cuts. Mainly, like I said, mainly because there are segments within the CPI that are slowing down a lot more significantly. It's something that I posted on my Twitter too. Like, let me just show you 1 second.
And have we convinced you to buy any Bitcoin yet?
Yeah, we did. We bought some Bitcoin in the portfolio. We're up a little bit.
No, I bought the Bitcoin in the portfolio.
I know, but I'm the one that said, "Hey, listen, let's buy some Bitcoin." And I told you,
we already had it.
No, I said it before that.
Mm-hmm.
I have the WhatsApp to prove it too. So
pull it up.
Let's see. Yeah, let's hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Matt Farley, Bitcoin.
I probably said something like we already have it or something like that.
There. No, here it is. Look. Share screen. window, boom. Okay, there it is. There's our conversation, right? So we said right here, can you buy for our portfolio the cash we have? And you said BTC is the same thing, lower expense ratios. Let's sure. See? So that's why I said, let's do it. You showed me your Bitcoin gains, which I am sorry I didn't mean to show that to everyone.
That's fine.
But
as long as it doesn't have account numbers, you're good. But yeah, we've had it. Let's see. I'm curious now. When was the date of that, Mr. Patel?
That was let's see.
Because our first purchase of BTC in the public account was August 2024.
This was 2024. 20th, 2024.
So we have
all right. So you're right.
August 2024, October 2024, November 20th, 2024. So we did buy some after, but
you are correct, sir. So all right. So you had bought some, but
I'm sneaking it in there. You're like, buy some of this, and I'm like, I need to buy some Bitcoin.
I didn't realize that we actually had Bitcoin in there for some reason.
I try to keep the small position, like Rocket Lab. We never knew when we bought Rocket Lab until it was there.
I didn't. I know, but then you sold it too. That's
then I sold it. Yeah, unfortunately, we would have been up over 100% if we had kept it.
Yep,
probably.
It's okay. It's okay.
Been able to go to Joseph Carlson and be like, look, put some respect on my name.
No, we're not ever gonna buy Misty. Get out of here. Anything that's a yield thing, we're not buying. Okay, that's the worst thing ever. Don't do it.
Oh, Misty, is that the yield max?
Yeah.
Oh God, no. Keep it away from me.
Never.
15% dividend? Is it really? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Only a 15% dividend and a 20% NAV loss on a monthly basis.
Let me see.
You were gonna pull up. You were going to pull up something, and then I distracted you about Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah. No, I was going to show you like why I think inflation is actually likely to come down. Let me just present, share screen. So if you go here, okay, so a couple of things. So number one is auto insurance, right? So if you look at the data here with motor vehicle insurance has been one of the biggest drivers for a while now. Now, on the other hand, new vehicles and used cars are actually coming down. New vehicles is down 4% year over year. Used cars are down 3.3%. So if you look at the data here with regards to both of those segments, you can see like new vehicles, they've come down in value since 2021. And then at the same time, if you look at the cost of repairs, they're starting to come down. So because this is coming down, you're also seeing the same thing with premiums on auto insurance. So auto insurance will also start to make a meaningful drop as well. So the key here is, if used car prices go down, new car prices go down, and the cost of repair goes down, then insurance companies can come, not so much that they'll come down in insurance, because I don't think insurance companies are in the business of ever coming down, but the rate at which insurance goes up will moderate, which means that that'll be a disinflationary driver for us. And if you look at the data here, you can see that it lags, right? So new vehicles, they started to spike in July of 21 and around 2022, and they've been coming down. The spike in repairs of those new vehicles started to happen a year after, and same thing with insurance was a year after, right? So it's almost like this weird scenario where one leads to another. So it's kind of like that right now.
It's like a derivative of a derivative, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the key. So I think in the future, lower motor vehicle insurance could be on the horizon. And the other one, of course, is housing, which is starting to make. Oh, did you see the thing that I
cried. I was crying.
Yeah. So let me just see, where was the other thing? Man, I post too much charts and graphs on on here. Okay, this right here, you can see that there are a lot of segments within the country that are starting to lead to way more active listings. And because of that, the median prices are starting to come down. As those median prices come down, OER is going to come down, which is the owner's equivalent rent. So there are still areas of the country that are doing, pretty well in terms of like home price appreciation, but you're finally starting to see cracks. So you're starting to see in Tampa, if you look at a median listing price year over year, it's actually down 6%. In Miami, it's down almost 10%. Orlando, 4.3%. Denver, almost 6%. Right? Atlanta, it's about negative 3 point. So all of this data will eventually make it into the CPI number. But once again, it lags, right? As people put more homes on the market, they stay longer on the market, you're going to see a pretty much I want to say a correction, but you're going to see more modest rises in home price appreciation. So you can see this trend line right here with active listings in the country. So we had literally a pre-COVID, it was about 1.2 million, right? During COVID, everyone got those super low mortgages. So everyone bought homes and the number of inventory went down all the way to like literally less than 300,000. So you're talking about a 70% drop in active listings. Now the listings have started to recover. And there's one data point that I had, I forgot where, but it's crazy to see like year over year what the thing was.
I know you showed me something like houses in development or housing permits or something like that. Is that what you're looking for?
That, and there was another thing. I don't know. I don't have it on me right now. But basically what it does is it trends every year. Let me see if I can find it actually.
But it makes me, it's exciting for me because I love the house that I live in, but this has always been a house that I was eventually going to rent. I was never going to live here long term. And so, prices coming down is something that's good for me because, I don't want to pay 600, 700 grand for some of these houses if I could pay 550, and 550 is about what I want to buy. I don't want to reveal too much, but I guess I already did. But it's like, 550 is comfortable for me, especially here in Houston. Like a $550,000 house here in Houston, it buys you a lot of house versus obviously it's a shoebox if you go to like California or New York. But anyway.
This is it right here. Okay. So you can see the trends because the thing is like housing is seasonal, right? Usually people list their homes in the springtime. Most of the inventory comes around during the September, like towards like July and September, right? So you can see here 2017, the about 1.1 million homes. It peaked out at about 1.4 and then started to come down. December this year, we're at 871,000 compared to last year, which was about what, 710, 720. So almost a 22% rise in active inventory for December. This is what's going to show up here, in which case the amount of active inventory this summer could be somewhat close to like almost a million homes on the market. And if there's a million homes on the market with interest rates at 7.5%, the number of buyers is going to be really, really thin, so a lot of homes will just sit on the market for a while. And as they sit on the market, you'll see more price cuts. And as the price cuts come in, you're going to eventually see that reflected in owner's equivalent rent, in which case the Fed is going to have all the ammunition they need to cut. The challenge that we're going to run into is, will this cause a negative wealth effect? And if people end up in a negative wealth effect like they did in China, you're going to see, lower amount of spending on things, which means that maybe future growth on goods and services will come down. So it's like one after the other. So that's why my logic is we have to be careful, in which case the end of 25 and maybe 26, we could see, some level of a correction in the markets where maybe like people are less than enthusiastic about growth rates. So we'll see.
Now, when you say negative wealth effect, let's just kind of like simplify that for everybody. Are you saying that a lot of people are putting in a lot of equity, or they have a lot of equity in their homes, and so as the prices depreciate, that equity disappears?
Yeah.
And so therefore, the value that people thought they had, maybe what's the word I'm looking for? Shrink down. What's the word I'm looking for?
Shrinkflation? No, not shrinkflation.
No, I'm thinking of like when homes are too big now and people kind of sell and they downsize. They're downsizing because the kids are out of the house. It's just them and the wife, or it's just them and the husband now. And they don't necessarily, and they are able to take that and put it in towards their retirements and stuff of the like. Maybe people won't be able to do that as much.
I mean, the challenge that people are facing right now is that, let's say you do have a big house, right? And you have a 3% mortgage on it. You want to downsize, but the thing is, all the houses, you're not going to trade in a 3% mortgage to inherit a 7% mortgage on your new home. And you're basically paying the same amount that you were paying for the big home that you're now paying for the small home, right? It doesn't work that way. So the thawing of the real estate market is going to be a very important thing. And I think we only get that with interest rates, the mortgage rates below 5%. I think at 5, you're going to start to see a little bit of inventory unlock, which would be good. Right now, the people that are pretty much selling are people who, look, people are going to have, like, people that are even people sitting on 3% mortgages. They have a lot of issues with, let's say your wife divorces you. What are you going to do? You're going to say, oh, no, we can't get divorced because you have a 3% mortgage rate? Like, no, if you got you got an issue, you got to sell. Yep. You got death in the family, right? If you had a 2-income household and one person dies and they can't afford it, boom, they have to sell.
They don't have life insurance, all that. Yeah.
Let's say right now, you're an older couple and one of the parents passes away and there's only another parent left. They're not going to be able to live in a big home. Like right now, my in-laws, they have a really nice home in Dalton, but there's 2 of them. They could live there. But if it's just my mother-in-law, or just my father-in-law, clearly we're going to have to sell, So these are the kinds of things that would impact the housing market. So as people get older, life's changed. Like my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law, they bought a house in Georgia. They really liked the place. They loved it, actually. It was brand new. But then my sister-in-law, she got a new job that's in the complete opposite direction. So they had to buy another house. Now they still have that old house. They tried renting it out, but there's no one that's going to rent because it's such a really big, nice house. And the number of people that qualify for it, they're not they're not going to give it up. So now they're in the market to sell it, because they can't keep paying 2 mortgages, even if the other mortgage is super low. So,
Yeah, there's something to be said about that, man. Like, I think, there's a sweet spot. I try to tell, because I have people that are like, oh, we should buy this, this house to rent out. And then I'm like, it gets to a point where you think about it, in the Airbnb business, like somebody might be willing to rent your house for $5,000 for a week. Might be tougher to try to get somebody to pay $13,000,
Mm-hmm.
And so you either have to have a really beautiful home that houses multiple families at that point, where it's affordable, or, to me, it's almost like at that point, just buy multiple homes, like it just doesn't make sense to try to be on the upper curve because you lose buyers, like you stated, like it might take 6 months to a year to sell it if it's a $3-4 million home, Yeah. So I don't know.
I am a bit jealous because sometimes I'll see this house like that I really, really like in a neighborhood. And motherfuckers are sitting on like a 2.75% mortgage. I'm like, oh, dude, you got such a freaking great deal. Right. Yeah. That thing is like, at the time, I didn't think like we were going to get to 7-8% in mortgage rates and that inventory would be so bad. But, they got lucky. Good for them.
Yeah.
But that's all. But that's also causing a bit of a rift as well. I don't know if you heard what the new Treasury Secretary was talking about. Basically, like if you own your own home and you have a 3% mortgage, you're doing well. You're golden right now. But if you were renting and rent inflation has gone up significantly, you got screwed over.
Yeah.
And now you don't even have the option to buy because the prices of homes have gone up and the interest rates have gone up. So affordability is like nuts,
Yeah, it's tough, man. I think about it too. It's just like, I think about this house and I'm like, how much more expensive this house is at when I bought it at 7% compared to what it would have been at, 2.5 or 3%. And it's a lot of money. It's a couple $100 a month. The amount of house I could have bought equivalent at, whatever the price I'm paying, I forget it is per month, but it's north of $2,000 a month for everything all in. It's like I could have probably bought a $550,000 house at 2 to 3%, and not had to worry about it. But anyway,
yeah,
interesting.
What's the deal with China? Let's see. I haven't even looked.
No idea.
China annual GDP. China fourth quarter GDP grows at 5.4%, beating market expectations. There you go. Long China, baby. FXI.
We're buying back in?
Let me see. Let's see FXI. Ooh, I don't know what the value of it. Go to FXI for me on Robinhood because you have it up. I mean, China has value, man. There's a lot of value.
I was looking at houses. I see. I was like, oh, that house did come down $50,000.
Which one? The ones that you were looking at? Bro, Texas is just having a monster, like a lot of homes on the market. How are they doing pre-market? Let's see. Just do it one day.
Pre-market? Overnight?
They're up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy. Yeah, nothing crazy with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, interesting. Well, is there any other thoughts? Unfortunately, I do have a meeting with Indonesia.
Yeah. No. Let's end this early.
You probably heard a couple Teams messages already coming through. So
yeah.
But it was good to get back into the swing of things. I know we had over 150. We're at 163 people now. Please be sure to subscribe. You guys haven't already. We didn't even do the intro, man. We need to. I was thinking about that today.
At least do the outro.
When you said let's do it Cashflow tonight, I was like, should I update the intro and outro? And unfortunately, I never got around to it because I was doing something for the meeting I have in 15 minutes. So, but eventually, I need to come up with a good idea as to what a good intro or outro might be. So.
All right, we'll work on it.
Maybe you want to do the intro or outro?
Just do the outro.
All right, my man. I'll talk to you.
Freaking LL Cool J. Go ahead, play it.
What's the LL Cool J one?
Yeah.
Greed is good. The stock is going to go up, down, sideways, or in fucking circles. It's all a fugazi.
Sell it all.
Greed is good. Huge upside potential, upwards of $60,000.